Okay, welcome in, one and all. I'm now going to be reviewing all of Saturday's action of the NHL. There were 9 games on tap, so therefore 18 points. So not to 18 points. Wow, 18 teams were looking to secure 2 points by the end of the evening. Starting with the teams that you see on your screen between the Montreal Canadiens and the Florida Panthers. So there were no scoring in the first. We have to jump all the way ahead to the second, where on a power play, 4 minutes and 5 seconds into that frame, Luo Strinan would get a goal, his sixth of the season, assisted by Rodriguez and Bennett. Less than 3 minutes after that, Montreal would have a power play of their own. Cole Caulfield would tie it up. 7 minutes and 1 second into that frame, his ninth of the season, assisted by Suzuki and Matheson. So it's all tied up in one, heading into the third. In the third, 7 minutes and 34 seconds on a power play, Luo Strinan would strike yet again, his second of the game, his seventh of the season, assisted by Ekblad and Ekman Larsson. Late in that period, with just under 5 minutes to go in that game, Sam Bennett would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his sixth goal of the season from Ekman Larsson and Verhaeghe. And speaking of Verhaeghe, he would then get on the goal score sheet himself, recording his 18th goal of the game of the season. I apologize. Assisted by Kachuk and Ekblad, and that goal happened with 2 minutes and 47 seconds to go in the game. So 4-1 would be the final score from Florida. With that, the Panthers have now improved to 22-12-1. They are now sitting second in that Atlantic division. And with the loss, the Habs are 15-15-5. They are well down the pipe when it comes to the standings in the Eastern Conference. All right. The next matchup took place in Winnipeg, and I will have the teams on the screen momentarily. So a battle of the Central coming up. So the Minnesota Wild were in Manitoba to take on the Jets. In the first, Iafallo would kick things off for the Winnipeg Jets, roughly 4 minutes into that period, his sixth of the season, assisted by Namestnikov. With just under 6 minutes to go in that period, Niederreiter would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Adam Lowry. So it's 2-0 in favor of the Jets heading into the second period. 6 minutes and 45 seconds into that middle period, Niederreiter would strike yet again, getting his second goal of the game, his 12th of the season, assisted by Morrissey and Appleton. On a power play, the Wild would finally get on the board. 10 minutes and 5 seconds into that frame, so therefore 9 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in that period. Ryan Hartman would strike, getting his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Johansson and Gaudreau. So it's 3-1 in favor of the Jets heading into the third. Just 20 seconds into that third period, Boldy would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Kaprizov. 2 minutes and 26 seconds after that, Jonathan Fajabi, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, would record his second goal of the season, increasing the lead to 4-2, assisted by Tonestito and Barron. So 4-2 would be the final from Winnipeg. With the victory, the Jets have now improved to 21-9-4. They are now sitting second in that Central Division. And with the loss, the Minnesota Wild are 16-14-4. All right, the next matchup takes place in Buffalo, where we have the Sabres, and they were taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Okay, so you should see the team's logos on the screen in just a sec. So in the first, with just 13 seconds to go, Severson would get the first goal of the game for the Blue Jackets, his fourth of the season, assisted by Voronikov and Chinnikov. So it was 1-0 in favor of the Blue Jackets heading into the second. Quinn would strike pretty quick in that second frame, recording his third goal of the season from Cousins and Power, just 40 seconds into that frame. Fantilli would give the Blue Jackets a 2-1 lead with 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go in that frame. recording his 11th goal of the season from Danforth and Sillinger. So it's 2-1 in favor of the Blue Jackets heading into the third. With 8 minutes and 8 seconds remaining, Middlestad would tie the game up, getting his 10th goal of the season from Benson and Samuelson. So it's all tied up at 2 heading into the extra frame. And it just took 1 minute and 20 seconds for the Sabres to strike, getting the game-winning goal from Jeff Skinner, assisted by Power and Tage Thompson. So with the victory, the Sabres are now 15-18-4, still 3 games below 500. And with the loss, the Blue Jackets are still 6 games below 500, 12-18-8. Okay, now we're off to Beamtown, where the Bruins were in action. And they were playing host to the New Jersey Devils. All right, take a look at the game recap from this one. In the first, Nico Hischier would score a power play goal for the Devils, getting his 8th goal of the season from Toffoli and Jack Hughes, 6 minutes and 3 seconds into that first period. In the second, Luke Hughes would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 7th goal of the season from Tyler Toffoli and Jesper Bratt, 1 minute and 11 seconds into that period. 5:35 in that period, DeBrusk would cut the deficit to 2-1, getting his 5th goal of the season from Marchand and Coyle. Pastrnak would then tie the game up with 7 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in that period, getting his 21st of the season from Carlo and Geekie. Pastrnak would then record his 2nd goal of the game, a power play goal with 4 minutes and 21 seconds remaining, getting his 22nd of the season from DeBrusk and McAvoy. And with just under 3 minutes remaining in that period, 2 minutes and 46 seconds to be exact, Kevin Shattenkirk would record his 3rd goal of the year from Grzelcyk and Charlie Coyle. So it's 4-2 in favor of the Bruins heading into the third. In the third, just the 1 goal to report. Shattenkirk would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 4th of the season, a power play goal to note, assisted by Marchand and Pastrnak. So 5-2 would be the final score in this one. So the Devils had a 2-0 lead, and then they blew it, giving up 5 straight goals to the Boston Bruins. With the victory, the Bruins have now improved to 21-7-6, still atop of that Atlantic Division. And with the loss, the Devils are 19-14-2. All right, now we're off to the Steel City, where we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they were in action against the St. Louis Blues. Let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. In the first period, O'Connor would open up the scoring with just under 5 minutes to go in that game. In the period, I should apologize, 4 minutes and 28 seconds to be exact. He would record his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Malkin and Riley Smith. So after 1, it was 1-0 in favor of the Penguins. In the second, on a power play, early in that frame, Rob Thomas would tie the game up, 15th goal of the season, assisted by Kyrou and Torrey Krug. And that goal happened just 1 minute and 6 seconds into that frame. On a power play for the Penguins, 6 minutes and 50 seconds into that middle period, Evgeny Malkin would give the Penguins a 2-1 lead, recording his 14th goal of the season from Gensel and Raquel. So it's 2-1 in favor of the Penguins after 2. In the third, 4 minutes and 48 seconds into that frame, Jeff Carter would get on the goal score sheet, recording his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Harkins, making it 3-1 at that point. Sperry Kapanen would cut the deficit to 3-2 with 9 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in that period, with 4th of the season, assisted by Perunovic. Sidney Crosby would get a late goal for the Penguins, increasing the lead to 4-2 with 1 minute and 31 seconds remaining. His 20th goal of the season from Gensel and Erik Karlsson. So 4-2 is where we'd stand at the end of this matchup. So with the victory, the Penguins have now improved to 17-13-4, and despite the loss, the Blues are still a game above 500, 18-17-1. All right, now we're off to Tampa Bay, where we have the Lightning, and they were playing host to the New York Rangers. All right. Let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. In the first, Panarin would get an early goal for the Rangers, a minute and 51 seconds into that frame, recording his 21st goal of the season from Trocheck and Lafreniere. Trocheck would then get on the goal scorer sheet himself, making it 2-0, 7 minutes and 36 seconds into that frame, recording his 9th goal of the season from Trouba and Lafreniere. In the second, Kucherov would finally get the Lightning on the board, but it would come at very late in that period, 2 minutes and 21 seconds to be exact. A power play goal is 25th of the season from Stamkos and Nick Paul. And less than a minute after that, Chris Kreider would increase the lead to 3-1 for the Rangers, recording his 18th goal of the season from Trocheck and Blake Wheeler. So it was 3-1 in favor of the Rangers heading into the third. Panarin would then get his second goal of the game, his 22nd of the season, assisted by Trocheck, 11 minutes and 16 seconds into that third period, or 8 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in that frame. And then Panarin would then get a hat trick. His third goal of the game is 23rd of the season from Adam Fox and Mika Zibanejad, and that would be a power play goal with 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the game. So 5-1 is where we would sit at the end of this one. So with the victory, the Rangers have now improved to 25-9-1. They are still atop of that Metropolitan Division, and with the loss, the Lightning are 17-15-5. Not doing that great, but they're still kind of in the mix when it comes to that wild card spot. All right, the next matchup takes place in Toronto. We have the Maple Leafs, and they're playing host to the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. So in the first, welcome back, Michael Bunting. Obviously, he signed with the Carolina Hurricanes in the offseason. He would open up the scoring for the Hurricanes, getting his 8th goal of the season, a power play goal to note, assisted by Aho and Svechnikov, just 2 minutes and 24 seconds into that first. In the second, Seth Jarvis would get a power play goal of his own, assisted by Svechnikov and Aho, and that goal happened with 6 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the period. So it was 2-0 in favor of the Hurricanes heading into the third. In the third, Liljegren would finally get his first goal of the season for the Maple Leafs, assisted by Domi and Giordano, 4 minutes and 16 seconds into that frame. And then with just under a minute to go, the Leafs pulled their goalie, gave up an empty netter to Sebastian Aho. He would record his 15th goal of the season. And at that point, it was 3-1. With 10 seconds, Nick Robertson would get a goal for the Maple Leafs. It looked like it was going to honestly be like a save of the year. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend to watch this unbelievable attempt at a save. But they did deem it was a goal. So Robertson would record his 5th goal of the season from Domi and Liljegren. But unfortunately, with just 10 seconds to go, the Leafs were not able to mount a comeback in this one. All right, so with the victory, the Carolina Hurricanes have now improved to 20-13-4. And despite the loss, the Leafs are still 7 games above 500, 17-10-7. All right. Let's take a look at the next game. Only 2 more games on tap from Saturday's action. We are now off to Washington, where the Capitals played host to the Nashville Predators. All right. Let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. In the first 2 minutes and 44 seconds into that first period, Evan Delista would record his 5th goal of the season from Fabro and Novak. Ryan Josi would then increase the lead to 2-0 for the Predators, getting his 8th goal of the season from Nyquist and Ryan O'Reilly. 6 minutes and 55 seconds into that period, a power play goal to note. Excuse me. Malenstein would finally get the Capitals on the goal-scoring sheet, recording his 3rd goal of the season from Dowd and Trevor Van Riemsdyk, and that goal happened with 9 minutes and 35 seconds to go in that period. In the second, Alex Ovechkin finally scored, getting his 7th goal of the season from Strome and Protas, and that goal happened with 5 minutes remaining in that second period. There were no goals to report in the third, so it was all tied up at 2 heading into the extra frame. No one was able to put the puck in the back of the net during the overtime period, so we had to jump ahead to a shootout where Gustav Nyquist would get the game-winning goal for the Nashville Predators. So with the victory, the Predators are now 20-16-1, and with the loss, the Capitals, they're still 6 games above 500, 17-11-6. All right, and the last game took place in the Pacific Division, where we have the host team in the Los Angeles Kings, and they were taking on a very familiar foe in the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, these two teams not only have been in the same division for almost 10 years, they've also made the postseason the last two playoffs, facing off against each other in the first round. So I'm sure there's a bit of bad blood, to say the least, between these two squads. In the first, Kevin Fiala would open up the scoring late in that first period, I should note, with 5 minutes and 16 seconds to go. Kevin Fiala would strike with a power play goal, getting his 8th goal of the season from Kempe and Doughty. With a minute and 11 seconds, Kempe would then increase the lead to 2-0 for the Kings, getting his 12th goal of the season from Kopitar and Byfield. So it was 2-0 in favor of the Kings heading into the second period. The Oilers got a power play early in that second frame. McDavid would strike, getting a power play goal, his 13th of the season from Nugent Hopkins and Evan Bouchard. I want to say roughly exactly 10 minutes after that, Draisaitl would then tie it up with McDavid as his assist on that goal. With that, Draisaitl now has 16 goals on the season. So it's all tied up at 2 heading into the third. There were no goals to report in the third, so we obviously needed the extra time. No goals in the overtime period, so we again had to jump ahead to a shootout where Derek Ryan would record the game-winning goal for the Edmonton Oilers. So with that, the Oilers have now improved to 17, 15, and 1. They're still in the bottom 4 of that Pacific Division. And with the loss, the Kings are still in third place, I believe, of that same division at 28 and 5. All right, that takes care of my recap from Saturday night. I do attempt to do videos on the daily, and if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. And as always, take care.